Hi, my name's Phil. I like talking about politics, and in this video I'd like to discuss a policy from Ed Miliband which is designed to counter the NIMBYism raged against the move to net zero. Basically, the plan is to make energy cheaper specifically for people living near to green energy production. But first, for daily political commentary, please hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out. So, small scale clean energy should be a no-brainer. People should be welcoming it with open arms. Small scale energy production means you don't lose as much energy by having loads of electricity generated long distances away from where it is eventually consumed. Like the largest power station I think Britain's ever had is just down the road from me. It's in Humberside. But the highest population density is in the southeast of England, hundreds of miles away. In the interest of efficiency, which would keep costs down, we should ideally be generating the energy as close as possible to where it's being consumed. And clean energy is ideal for this. Like, you can't really have a mini fossil fuel generator. Like, you sometimes have like a diesel generator in a hospital or something. It's not very efficient. So you certainly can't do that all over the country. But you can have solar on every rooftop. You can have small solar and wind farms. Better for the environment, resistant to global fluctuations in international fossil fuel prices, and you waste less energy transferring it on the national grid. And yet, because our media are so effective at warping the perspectives of the public, we have this mad situation where there are some people who genuinely believe the absolute guff about low carbon production being more expensive, even though everyone knows that our domestic energy costs just doubled in the UK recently, specifically because the price of oil went up. It's amazing doublethink, but that is the reality. It's also a helpful way of demonstrating the fallacy of thinking, well, if Labour just explained certain things to the public, then other issues like, immigration or something would be less toxic. It's like Labour have been trying to hammer home the message that clean energy is cheaper for some years, and yet they're still up against the Tory talking points on the issue. But anyway, I digress. What to do about it? Well, Ed Miliband has been describing a number of incentives for small-scale low-carbon energy. Specifically, I'm focusing here on a policy whereby people living near these community projects for clean energy will get cheaper energy. Labour have talked a lot about smashing the NIMBYs, who too often block the development of critical infrastructure. But it's nice to have a carrot as well. In fact, where it can work, it's generally better to have a carrot. Despite the obvious evidence to the contrary, I don't actually think Labour are trying to piss off as many voters as possible right now. And if Labour are saying that people who support community energy projects will get cheaper energy, that's a pretty good carrot to push. Not only will energy like this actually be cheaper than fossil fuel production anyway, so it works economically, but it also cuts another Tory argument off at the knees. See, they're trying to persuade people, along with Reform UK, that net zero will make people colder and poorer, because, of course, they're paid for by oil barons. But if people living amongst clean energy production have the cheapest energy bills, the argument loses ground pretty quickly. And as energy costs are a significant part of ordinary people's expenditure, that could work really well. See, when we talk about NIMBY groups blocking development, we're not talking usually about entire communities. It tends to be a couple dozen busybodies who hassle the council, with everyone else just ignoring it. Because although most people don't object to development, there's not usually any reason for them to stand up against their NIMBY neighbours and support it either. But money off energy bills, that could be a good incentive. So it potentially works in two ways. First, you generate positive support for community projects, although Labour say they're prepared to overrule local authorities to get Britain building. They can't be doing it everywhere. There's not enough ministers to be able to overrule every single project in the country. It's much better if the vast majority of local authorities just approve useful projects. I'm not saying rubber stamp everything, but approve useful projects, and the government only have to intervene in a few cases. But second, once the system is up and running, and you have got people with energy bills being cut because they live near these projects, Labour can highlight these cases. They can say, these people living in this community paid this amount of money. These people, same sort of community, but they've got this thing, right? This is what they're paying for their electricity. And they can point to local authorities who who are resisting the moves and saying, this is how much higher they're making your energy bills. This is what your energy bill would be if this local authority behaved like this local authority. You know, maybe you'd like to think about that the next council election, they could be saying. But there we are. Those are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, please click the like button. And if you'd like to support the channel further, you can join for memberships. Thanks for watching. And until next time, I'll see you later.